Hello and welcome to a new South Texas Pride podcast. I'm Ivan Herrera, and today I'm joined by Blue Flores, a growth to market advisor, digital nomad, writer, and DEI growth leader. Blue, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Ivan. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
So in this episode, we're going to be discussing diversity, equity, and inclusion in the tech industry, as well as some of the challenges and efforts to expand queer visibility in the workplace. Can you share, a little bit about yourself and expand on some of the initiatives in tech, some of your initiatives in the tech industry?
Yes, I'm happy to. So first, like you mentioned, go-to-market advisor and business development professional. I started my career in the tech industry about 3 years ago when this company called The Hut Group, based out of the UK, started an office in San Antonio, Texas. And I was one of the first business development professionals to open that office, then moved over to a SaaS company and I've been here for almost 2 years. I'm also a digital nomad. Basically, what that means is I work remotely and I'm able to travel around the world. Currently, I'm in South America, which I'm absolutely loving. One of the focuses while building my career has been how to keep my career identity and build upon it within the workplace. And I've seen a lot of opportunity within the tech industry for expanding diversity and also giving a lot of visibility to issues that are affecting queer people in the workplace.
I love that you're traveling right now because it just seems like so much fun. Tell me a little bit about South America and how it's been, since you've been there.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in South America for about a year. And I think the biggest difference that I've seen is obviously culture, but speaking about LGBT things, like everyone is openly queer. And I'll say that because like the mayor's office in Chile, where I was just at in Santiago, there is a trans flag on the mayor's office. Here in La Paz, like there's gay flags everywhere. And it feels very welcoming. And also I love reggaeton and reggae and other types of Latino music. But like you mentioned, it's a great privilege to be able to travel around the world while still working and building my career and then also helping other people achieve their career goals as well.
Passionate. So, as someone who's passionate about expanding DEI efforts in the tech industry, tell me about what you see as a challenge or challenges for LGBTQ people in this space. And is there anything that you've seen firsthand?
Yes, and so a little background of how I started becoming really passionate about LGBT and other DEI initiatives. I started writing on LinkedIn. Just one day, I felt like writing all my thoughts and opinions. I love writing, and a lot of the posts that I was writing they started going a little viral, and I started getting messages from people and from around the country working at different companies, and they were asking, what advice would you have for me as someone who's gay in the workplace? A lot of stories they would share would be along the lines of, hey, I'm in the closet and I'm scared to come out at work. I have a fake girlfriend or I have a fake boyfriend and they have to hide their identity. And I resonated with that a lot because I used to work for a company where we would pray before work every day. And it was very centered around religion. And it was difficult for me to uh, find myself as a young adult as well, like who is discovering their identity as well. So that's how I started becoming passionate about these issues because it wasn't about me. It was like, how are all these LGBT people having these issues? And where it really clicked for me is during the Colorado mass shooting that occurred last year. I was really emotional during that part of the year. I spoke to the people team at my company and I expressed how I was feeling, which was really scared, really nervous. And I haven't felt that way in a long time. And to see all these, so a culmination of all these messages of like, how do I be myself in the workplace? And then also, how do I be safe out in the world outside of work as well? That is what drove me to become really passionate about these topics.
Definitely. And what are some of those challenges that you've seen firsthand, other than, the people that have reached out to you? Have you seen anything firsthand in the workplace?
I think the big things that are happening in the workplace today that I've noticed, my company is very progressive, by the way. However, some things that still come up today I think it's really big within the trans community, and pronouns are a big issue, especially when you meet clients in person. I've started saying my pronouns every time I meet a client in person, and sometimes they're caught off guard. I think it has to do, the importance of saying your pronouns has to do with trans visibility. And a company I worked for did a survey, and they asked a bunch of DEI questions, and the response wasn't that positive. A lot of the responses mentioned how white men, white cis hetero men, feel like they're under attack. I think that's the biggest thing right now we are facing in the workplace, is how do we change the topic from people feeling attacked to actually bringing the community together, that we're all, the same inside.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think anybody likes to feel attacked, so I'm glad that you brought that up. It's definitely about, being part of a community and not, excluding people. So now that we've talked about some of the challenges, tell me about some of the efforts that you've seen to respond to these types of challenges, or any solutions that you think could be pursued. I know you were talking about surveys within your company, but any other efforts that you might have seen?
Yes, and one of the ways, I think the best ways to, or any effort to increase visibility or increase, oh, I'm going to start over.
No, yeah, go for it.
Best way is to create awareness around these things. So for Trans Day of Visibility, I participated in a book club, and we hosted that at our company to talk about some of the issues that trans people face. I think awareness is the best way to increase diversity and eliminate that feeling of people feeling attacked. That's another reason why I like traveling as well, to see different perspectives. And DEI research shows that when you are exposed to different cultures, different communities, you are less likely to perceive them as negative. And so that's one of the big initiatives that I focus on, not only in my company, but outside within friend groups as well. Like, I'm always inviting people to like pride events and drag shows, sharing articles and what's actually happening, who people actually are. I recently did like a cooking like expedition thing where I showed people how to make empanadas. Of course, like that's not like LGBT oriented, but it's still along the lines of, hey, this is the culture, this is what it's like, and sharing that. I think is the best way to eliminate those feelings where people feel attacked or are judgmental. It's just they don't understand what people are like. If we look at the discourse right now against drag queens, they just don't understand. People who are against that don't understand the importance of drag queens and the culture behind it.
I think that that's really important to bring that awareness, because I think it's a problem that a lot of people don't want to talk to each other, and I think that that's kind of what leads to sometimes people not understanding one side, and the other one side thinks they're right, the other side thinks they're right, and none of them are talking, and it just doesn't feel like it's like humans interacting like we should be. And I think a lot of that divide also comes from social media, but it's also very beneficial to have social media. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
That's interesting that you bring that up. One thing that I've learned while traveling too, and the reason I'm passionate about traveling, is I get to see so many different perspectives. A lot of time I don't agree with some things, but I respect that everyone inside has their own experience and own lifestyle and how they grew up and their environment and how they came to this belief. And I think if we all respect each other and understand that we're not all going to think the same, I think that'll get us pretty far in life.
How about personal growth? Do you have any strategies that you'd like to share that could be beneficial to people who may be new to the business world, or maybe just don't have enough confidence?
Yes, and this is something I actually really enjoy talking about. And the reason regarding personal growth strategies, something everyone throws out all the time of how to build confidence, how to make friends, how to make business relationships. Everyone always says, just be yourself. And that's not very helpful, I found. Like, what does that mean? I used to say that to people as well when they would reach out for help. Just be yourself. I've actually found a way to just be yourself. And it's first figuring out what you care about. What do you value? I find that I value adventure, meeting new people, being open to new perspectives, trying new food. It could also be I value family. I value making time for my friends. And when you figure out what you value, you become more confident in yourself. I think that's the first way to build confidence. And then you can transfer that over to your business. What as an entrepreneur, what do I value? What do I care about in terms of what are the problems that I solve? And when you focus on that, instead of focusing on the outcomes, whether that's professionally or personally, the outcomes of whatever relationships that you have, and focus on the values that you have for yourself, I think that'll get you really far. That's the first step, is figuring out what you value.
I think that that's really important. I'm glad that you said that, the be yourself. A lot of people will tell you to be yourself and you're just like, I am myself. Like, I don't know how to be somebody else. So I'm glad that you brought it up in that kind of perspective, because a lot of people wouldn't think like that. So I'd like to open the floor to you. Are there any final words that you want to share based on your experiences that you've seen and your expertise?
Yes, I think right now in the world for LGBT folks, it's really scary with the violence that's happening, especially in Texas, all the legislation that's going on in the country. I think it's important to remember that your safety is the most important. And as you are navigating your career in the workplace, always keep in mind your safety is the most important. I mentioned earlier that after the Colorado shooting, I was very distraught for a week straight. And I reached out to the people team at my company, and they were very supportive. And if you just remember that you can only control what you can control and keep your passions, but remember that safety is the most important, I think that's what is important right now.
So I want to thank you so much for coming on the South Texas Pride podcast. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
You can connect with me on linkedin.com/blue-flores. I also started a blog, a travel blog you can follow. It's hendricksdaddy.com. My favorite gin is Hendricks, aka hendricksdaddy.com. And that's the best way to reach out to me.